No matter where you live in the world, there is a good chance that a video game was set in your country. Do you want to know which ones? Well, come and explore with us. In this video, we're looking at Switzerland. Officially, the Swiss Confederation is a small mountainous country located in Central Europe. The Alps occupy the greater part of the territory, and the Swiss population of approximately 8.7 million is concentrated on the plateau, where the largest cities and economic centers are located. Among them, Zurich, Geneva, and Basel. Although Switzerland doesn't have an official capital, the city of Bourne is the de facto seat of the government in the country. Switzerland is blessed by gorgeous nature and produces over 400 types of cheese. It is also famous for its delicious chocolate and exceptional watches. But as we all know, each country has its light and dark side, which game developers try to capture along with its unique atmosphere. So let's see which games achieve that the best. Number 1, Robert Ludlum's The Bourne Conspiracy. Deriving most of its content from the Bourne Identity film and offering a crowd-pleasing amount of combat diversity with an interesting mix of action for its players to enjoy, the gameplay is pretty straightforward. You move from point A to point B while encountering enemies along the way. You'll encounter a mini-boss halfway through and a main boss at the end. This game released in 2008 and is a mishmash of different genres. It has shooting sections, driving mission, and a great deal of close-quarter hand-to-hand fighting, all of which is satisfying to play. One of the missions is to escape the embassy at Zurich, Switzerland, and then you'll go to its airport and fly away by plane in very snowy weather. And what could be more authentically Swiss than that? Number 2, Call of Duty. If you somehow haven't heard about the Call of Duty games, you must be living under a rock. They are AAA first-person shooters with single-player and multiplayer gameplay concentrated on shooting lots of enemies, a scripted story, and alternating each year between setting the next game in the future or the past. In 2 Call of Duty games, you play missions in Switzerland, full of the shooting and destruction that the franchise is famous for. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare from 2016 has a story campaign that is centered around a battle for the solar system, which the Settlement Defense Front, a hostile force that is the main antagonist, are attempting to take over. You battle over the Swiss port of a futuristic Geneva. In Call of Duty Black Ops 3, released 1 year earlier in 2015, you visit and fight over a very snowy Zurich, also in the near future. Number 3, the Da Vinci Code. You might have seen this famous movie, and then you might remember Switzerland being in the video game version from 2006. You might also know that another thing Switzerland is famous for is its banks. Unfortunately, although some scenes take place in the Zurich bank, you couldn't really tell the difference from any other country's bank. But hey, there aren't that many games set in Switzerland outside of the Alps, so be glad for this one that technically features one of the most famous banks in the world. Number 4, Tekken 6. Speaking of mountains and the Alps, this game from 2007 is probably not what you expect, as it is a fighting game, but one of the levels is set in Switzerland and the level is gorgeous, with lots of Swiss sheep standing around not caring that 2 people are getting the absolute fondue kicked out of them. The sheep don't even care if you kick them, and they fly pretty nicely. Don't worry, no real sheep were harmed in the making of this game, and looking at the sheep physics, it's obvious that the creators never tried to kick sheep into the sky. Also, the music to this area is very Swiss mountain music, and they nailed the atmosphere if you ask me. 1, 2, 3, yodel! Number 5, Deus Ex Mankind Divided. M13 Garm is the main mission in Deus Ex Mankind Divided from 2016, and the only one to take place in the Swiss Alps. After Adam Jensen finds out that Garm is now being used by the Illuminati, he sets out to find answers. You see and can practically feel the snow as you spend time in the tough outdoor environment, at least at the beginning of the mission. The rest is, as usual, indoors, but at least we get a little bit of that Swiss fresh air, and it's nice to know that in 2029, there is still snow in the Alps. Number 6, Sherlock Holmes The Awakened. Even the famous Sherlock Holmes once visited Switzerland to crack a case, at least in this video game adaptation from 2007, as he winds his way through torchlit tunnels uncovering the dark secrets of the Black Elderweisse. This one is indoors only, as if the developers were afraid of the beautiful Swiss nature being too distracting even for the brilliant detective. But you will get your fill of typical Swiss interiors of castles and chateaus full of vaulted ceilings, oil paintings, rich ornate rugs, and cold stone dungeons. Number 7, Steep. Let's balance out the previous entry because this game from 2016 is all about the Swiss Alps, set entirely out in the deep powder on either snowboard or skis. By the way, we actually reviewed this game on our channel because it was free from the Epic Game Store in January 2020, and we were quite divided about recommending it or not, so much so that it almost ended our whole channel. But we did agree that the Alps and the visuals are fantastic and the maps are huge. It's probably safe to say that there is no other game where you can play bigger levels set in Switzerland than this one. If you can't strap on your snowboard and wingsuit over the Alps in real life, playing this game is the next best thing. Number 8, Panzer Paladin. This super retro pixelated platformer has the Swiss Alps in its background, and although it's very pixelated, we can tell that it's set in Switzerland, especially because, luckily enough, they tell us at the very beginning by waving the Swiss flag across the screen. Everything else in the game is pure science fiction or this is your game on drugs kind of stuff, as you even fight a big abominable snowman boss at the end of the Swiss level. And if you thought this game is really old, it's actually from 2020, so it's one of the newest games on the list. Number 9, the Raven Remastered. This game takes inspiration from the Poirot book and TV series as the setting, including the Orient Express. Yes, like the previous entry, this one is set on a train, but this time the pixels are so small that you can't even see them. The real focus of this game is all about hunting down clues and poking holes in people's stories like Swiss cheese. Number 10, Mundaun. Finally, here's a game from 2021 that is fully set in Switzerland, not just 1 or 2 levels. This whole indie FPS adventure horror game is set in a mysterious Swiss village. Amazingly, Hidden Fields is a one-person game studio founded by programmer and illustrator Michael Ziegler and located in idyllic Lucerne, Switzerland. His aim is to create game worlds that are truly unique in aesthetic and content for players to explore. So if you're looking to experience the more idyllic side of Swiss life with a side of monster nightmare fuel, then this game is for you. So that's 10 games, but frozen Swiss fish, we promised 10 titles, but how can we not mention Forza Motorsport 7? Saving the best for last, perhaps, you will be blown away by the visuals as you zoom through the Bernese Alps at speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Even though the game is from 2017, you have to admit that it looks absolutely gorgeous. Yes, this is the only map set in Switzerland in the game, but let's enjoy it for a few more seconds without my annoying voice. That's our list, and there are not that many more games set in Switzerland, but there definitely should be. Do you know about any other games that we should have included? Tell us in the comments and recommend the next country that we should cover. This series is much more in your hands than you know, since the number of episodes depends only on your interest and suggestions. Thank you for watching, and check out the whole series to find out about games in your home country or dream destination, because if we can't go there, at least we can play games that make us feel like we're there.